Good morning, everyone. It is my great privilege to join you this morning and to release the 2017 International Religious Freedom Report. This report is a testament to the United States' historic role in preserving and advocating for religious freedom around the world. Religious freedom is in the American bloodstream. It's what brought the Pilgrims here from England. Our founders understood it as our first freedom. That is why they articulated it so clearly in the First Amendment. As James Madison wrote years before he was President or Secretary of State, quote, "Conscience is the most sacred of all property," end of quote. Religious freedom was vital to America's beginning. Defending it is critical to our future. Religious freedom is not only ours, it is a right belonging to every individual on the globe. President Trump stands with those who yearn for religious liberty. Our Vice President stands with them, and so do I. Advancing liberty and religious freedom advances America's interests. Where fundamental freedoms of religion, expression, press, and peaceful assembly are under attack, we find conflict, instability, and terrorism. On the other hand, governments and societies that champion these freedoms are more secure, stable, and peaceful. So for all of these reasons, protecting and promoting global respect for religious freedom is a priority of the Trump administration. As our national security strategy so clearly states, our founders understood religious freedom not as the state's creation, but as the gift of God to every person and a fundamental right for a flourishing society. We're committed to promoting religious freedom around the world, both now and in the future. And Ambassador Brownback and I will talk about that today. We have underscored that commitment with his appointment. It's great to have a friend and a fellow Kansan up here with me today. International religious freedom deserves to be a front burner issue, and Ambassador Brownback and I, with him leading the way, will ensure that it continues to be so. The ambassador and our team in our Office of International Religious Freedom have been working tirelessly throughout the federal government and with our colleagues here at the department and in embassies overseas with NGOs, foreign partners, to defend religious freedom in the farthest corners of the globe. This report demonstrates the hard work of American diplomats to protect American and universal values. I'm proud of my team in completing this report. The release of the 2017 International Religious Freedom Report is critical to our mission to defend religious liberty. It brings to light the state of religious freedom all over the world. It documents, across 200 countries and territories, reports of violations and abuses committed by governments, terrorist groups, and individuals, so that we may work together to solve them. I have a number of examples here. For the sake of time, I'm going to pass through them, but know that we are working in countries around the world to ensure that religious freedom remains the case, and where it is not, that it becomes so. Ambassador Brownback will provide to you more details, but we are very ignited to announce that later this year we will celebrate the 20th anniversary of the International Religious Freedom Act, a law that reinforces America's commitment to religious freedom and to helping the persecuted. It is also the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the UN, which proclaimed the importance of human rights, including the right for religious freedom. The world has made important strides, but we still have a lot of work to do. In that regard, I am pleased to announce that the United States will host the first ever ministerial to advance religious freedom at the Department of State on July 25th and 26th of this year. I look forward to hosting my counterparts from like-minded governments, as well as representatives of international organizations, religious communities, and civil society, to reaffirm our commitment to religious freedom as a universal human right. This ministerial, we expect, will break new ground. It will not just be a discussion group. It will be about action. We look forward to identifying concrete ways to push back against persecution and ensure greater respect for religious freedom for all. The ministerial will also be my first to host as the Secretary of State, and that's very intentional. Religious freedom is indeed a universal human right that I will fight for, one that our team at the department will continue to fight for, and one that I know President Trump will continue to fight for. The United States will not stand by as spectators. We will get in the ring and stand in solidarity with every individual who seeks to enjoy their most fundamental of human rights. Thank you all for your time. Ambassador Brownback, thank you for putting this together. I look forward to working with you on it.
Sir, what about the religious prisoners in North Korea? Are you going to discuss that? Are you going to meet in New York?
Sir, do you plan to meet with Kim Jong-il?
That's fine. That's good right there. Thank you. I want to thank Secretary Pompeo. I'm grateful to him, to President Trump, Vice President Pence, the administration for their effort in defending religious freedom, as he announced and stated it's a top priority of this administration. I'm also very proud of my incredible team in the Office of International Religious Freedom. Several of them are here today, and the work and the job that they've done. I also point out to you former Congressman Frank Wolf is here, who the act is named after. The 2016 Religious Freedom Act is named the Frank Wolf Religious Freedom Act. Has been a wonderful friend and a mentor. The International Religious Freedom Report is the annual assessment of the state of religious freedom in our world today. We all have a stake in this fight. One person's bondage is another person's burden to break. We're all people with beautiful and undeniable human dignity. Our lives are sacred. Our right to choose the road our conscience takes is inalienable. We report on what has occurred and been said around the world. We don't make judgment calls in this report of what's worthy to report or not. We just report it all. There are people killed in the world today for their faith. There are people denied access to work or medicine for their beliefs. There are more subtle forms as well of persecution. We report it all without comment or analysis. Our goal is to protect the freedom of conscience for all people. That means protecting a Muslim, Buddhist, Falun Gong practitioner, or Christian in China, and their ability to pray and live out their life. That means protecting a blogger in the Middle East who doesn't believe that what his government might believe. Our desire is to protect both, to protect everyone's right to freely practice what they believe. We've been doing that by working with other federal agencies, the NGO community, the Hill, and with other governments so that we can effectively advocate for those who need it most. My office hosts a weekly roundtable to meet with stakeholders to discuss concerns from all over the world, and I'd invite you to participate in that. As the Secretary mentioned, we're now 20 years after the International Religious Freedom Act was originally passed. I was pleased to be an original sponsor of that in the Senate. We've seen progress, but there is much, much work to be done. Secretary Pompeo noted some of the more troubling cases around the world, including the plight of the Rohingya and now the Kachin in Burma. I visited several of the refugee camps in Bangladesh about a month ago. The situation is dire. We must do more to help them as they continue to be targeted for their faith. Also was at the Andrew Brunson trial in Turkey. I'm grateful for the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary's leadership on this. We will all continue to raise this case every chance we get until he is released. There are way too many Andrew Brunsons held unfairly in prisons around the world. And unfortunately, there are plenty of other countries we could mention that are covered in the report. For instance, Eritrea, the government reportedly killed, arrested, and tortured religious adherents and coerced individuals into renouncing their faith. In Tajikistan, continues to prohibit minors from even participating in any religious activities. Saudi Arabia does not recognize the right of non-Muslims to practice their religion in public and imprisons, lashes, and fines individuals for apostasy, blasphemy, and insulting the state's interpretation of Islam. In Turkmenistan, individuals who gather for worship without registering with the government face arrest, detention, and harassment. All four are countries of particular concern, or CPC countries, designations that are also vital tools meant to spur action. We also remain very concerned about religious freedom, or the lack thereof, in Pakistan, where some 50 individuals are serving life sentences for blasphemy, according to civil society reports. 17 are awaiting execution. And in Russia, authorities target peaceful religious groups, including Jehovah's Witnesses, equating them with terrorists. I'd welcome engagement with these and any governments on urgently needed reforms. So today, 20 years after Congress passed the original International Religious Freedom Act, we've made important progress, but for far too many, the state of religious freedom is dire. We have to work together to accomplish change. This report is a critical, important report, but strong action must follow. We must move religious freedom forward. We must defend it in every corner of the globe. And that's why the Secretary is hosting the first ever ministerial on advancing religious freedom. Two key objectives of the Trump administration are reduction of terrorism and growing the economy. With religious freedom, you get both of them. It is also a fundamental human right under assault in much of the world. The problems are great, but the opportunity for change is too. The ministerial will be an important event. We look forward to working with other governments and our partners in the religious community and civil society to advance this fundamental right.